Yes, we are set to go. We are rolling and we are recording and we are going to have some fun today.
So tell us, what did you just see recently?
It's relevant to an episode, so.
It was. I saw the Book of Mormon, the musical, the other day.
And how was it?
Yeah, how was it?
Review inbound.
I feel like they read off of my notes.
Okay. Very relevant to what we may have talked about.
No, it was very validating. Like, oh, I got it right. Mm-hmm. There were some like hidden jokes. There was a white face. And there was, what else? There was so much Star Wars references. Oh my gosh, that's what I was so excited
about.
Like
there were actual Star Wars references in the Book of Mormon. So the connections continue.
There.
I'm telling you, this is a thing. Star Wars and Mormonism. The deeper you look, the more there appears.
Yeah. One of the main characters, they're going on their mission, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's doesn't know much about the Book of Mormon, so he just starts making stuff up.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, and when the Nephites came to America, they destroyed the whatever tribe with the Death Star, Death Laser, and stuff like that. And at one point, like, a person from Star Trek, a person from like Darth Vader shows up.
Okay.
So he creates like a combo Star Wars Mormon
So
religion.
he creates his own sort of Star Wars Mormon lore, but maybe would not be so out of place in some of this Star Wars lore we have discussed.
No, it worked.
I mean, when you said outer darkness, and that was something that I knew was in the Star Wars stuff I've been reading, I Control-F'd that within Supernatural Encounters, which is like thousands of pages long.
Right.
I got like 600 results, outer darkness. They say that a lot in that book.
That's crazy.
So
next PowerPoint.
yeah, we're going to get back to this. We're not going to discuss Star Wars today that much besides this, but just saying the connections are there, and we're going to continue to document them as we find them.
Nice.
So Book of Mormon.
Yeah, it's not what. So I thought the Book of Mormon was two boys going on their mission. I thought it was about a gay awakening. It's not.
No. Is there anything queer in the Book of Mormon?
There is. There's a whole song called "Turn It Off," like turn off the feelings inside you.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Kind of a pray the gay away thing.
And like I think verbatim they say like it's okay to have gay thoughts, just don't act on it.
Hate the sin, not the sinner.
Yeah, which is the Mormon theology.
Okay.
So it's all right to think that, but it's just a thought, you know. It's like
you don't
having
act
a
upon
dream,
it.
you know.
It's a temptation.
It is, and you got to say no.
Iconic.
But on that note, I mean, we're talking about some different gods today. It looks
Yes.
like besides
I was
good old
gonna-
Elohim.
I was going to say we're not going to talk about the Bible today. We're going to do my other expertise, mythology, but we do talk about the Bible in this one.
Not surprised.
Never unwelcome.
Yeah. So what do you guys know about the Levant or the Bronze Age collapse?
I know that apparently the Bronze Age collapsed.
It did.
I know that. This is something I have no idea about, really.
So excited.
This is like a whole period of history that I would not be able to tell you very much about. I mean, I know what the capital of Assyria was. We talked about Monty Python a little bit earlier. That's about it.
I took art history. So you know it all.
So you know everything.
I do
okay.
know the Bronze Age collapse. I do not know gods of...
Awesome.
So you know it by its art, by like what was left behind.
Yeah, I know all about that.
That's fascinating. There's probably some really interesting stuff from that era, art-wise, culture-wise.
So the last PowerPoint was for Adam. This one's for Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
He's always asking it. I'm like, that's not quite right, Jeremy. I will tell you. In the nicest way.
Jeremy being Kelsey's brother, for those out there who have no idea who Jeremy is.
He lives here.
He does live here. You've never seen him on the podcast. We're trying to get him to appear.
That would be
Maybe
great.
one day he would. He's very knowledgeable, so I
Yes.
think he would have some great things to tell us about. Fingers crossed, one day.
So we're going to do a little review of the Greek Olympian pantheon. The Canaanite gods are very obscure, very deep take. And put the pantheon, most people know is the Greek pantheon. So I got a little children's book
Yes,
to help
I
us.
love this. I love this infomatic. I used to have books by whoever this author or illustrator, whoever creates this is. I had a periodic table of the elements one that made a little character for every element. But I've never seen this mythology one before today.
But it has no Hades and it has no Persephone.
Serious snubs.
I know.
Like it has Hercules, but no Hades.
Yeah. It's got the peacock.
But no Hades. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
The Hades was snubbed for a peacock,
Right.
y'all.
So we got Zeus,
Uh-huh.
king of the gods. He's a weather lightning god. And his wife Hera who is, I didn't even look at this to prepare. But yeah, her symbol's the peacock. She's the queen of the gods, god of like marriage and stuff.
I just want to say I only know this because of Lore Olympus.
We love Lore
and then
Olympus.
also a little bit of ancient Greek art, but that's about it. History.
That's as much as you know. And you're told that you're someone who looks like they know Greek mythology. That's something you were saying.
My college advisor for KSA State University randomly told me I should take this mythology class, and that I just looked like I was the kind of person who should take it. And she really wanted me to take it. And I was like sitting there thinking, I don't know anything about mythology, but apparently I look like someone who knows a lot about mythology.
They were just thinking, like, you read some Rick Riordan. You
Yeah.
know? You had that look.
I read one Percy Jackson book, and that was a few months ago. So
You're
fun.
new to that.
I'm
world.
new, guys. I'm new to this all stuff. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so there's Hermes, who is the god of travel. He's also a trickster god. He's also messenger.
I know
And-
him from Hercules.
Yes, it's from Hercules. He's got a lot going on, but so does Apollo. Is Apollo even on here? Yeah, he's over here on the
There he is, yeah.
right, left. Oh, next to Hera. So he is the god of the sun. His twin sister is Artemis, the goddess of the moon. Apollo is also the god of music, god of medicine, god of plague, because all plague gods are also medicine gods.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The duality.
fact, yes. Yeah, he represents young men. Artemis represents young women. Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. Is she even on here?
Another snub? Wow, I would be seriously surprised if there was no
Wait.
Artemis.
Wait, she's there.
Is she not?
She's there.
Oh, there's yeah, with the bow. Okay, yeah.
That's the only reason I knew who she was.
She's usually by her brother.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
seriously
is
weird
weird.
placements.
Yeah. She's
Was this poster done by an intern? Like they just got the art and like, okay, intern, you put them where you feel like you're putting them.
it's a book on like different cultures, like the Norse in Egypt, pantheons, and the poster's just Greek.
That's the
Greek
only
and
one they thought
Roman.
people would care about.
Yeah, Rome. That doesn't count.
I was saying the name of it.
Carried over.
Yeah, so they're twins, sun and moon, goddess of the hunt, as well as famously gay. We have Hephaestus, the god of the forge. He's the divine craftsman. He creates all the gods' weapons, like Athena's shield, Aphrodite's girdle, which is like a belt. And here's Aphrodite.
His hair looks wild, though. I want to say.
He looks like Thor.
Yeah, he looks like MCU
He looks
Thor,
like
Chris
Thor,
Hemsworth.
but he looks like he's balding.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be ugly? Like that was
He
the thing with
is,
the face.
yeah.
He's like a
Ugly?
crippled ugly. Like,
Yeah, he was. So he was born to Hera and Zeus, and Hera's like, I could not have given birth to an ugly child, so she kicks him off Mount Olympus.
Dang.
And so he's,
Man.
he's a crippled god.
Very Telatny of her there. If you're connecting it to Star
Yes.
Wars lore, still
And
hating ugly
yeah.
children.
His forge is in a volcano, which is
That's
always fun.
kinda cool.
Yeah,
That's badass.
he's married to Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. She's really interesting. She was birthed out of the sea, so she's not related to any of the other Olympian gods. Just sort of appeared one day.
Wasn't it something about nuts? Like somebody got their nuts cut off and that birthed Aphrodite? Or is that a different account?
That's Dionysus.
Okay, so, all right, yeah, I didn't know there was somebody who got birthed by like a
Yeah.
nut sack getting cut off and thrown into the water.
Yeah, there's.
Greeks came up with some good stories, man.
It actually might be another one. I'm not. There's very weird birth stories
Uh.
in Greek mythology, like Athena, goddess of wisdom and like warfare. That's smart warfare.
Yeah, 'cause she has,
Yeah.
she has an owl.
Yeah,
That's how you know she's smart.
and she was birthed out of Zeus's head, so she was like thought into existence.
She was like a migraine.
Yeah, and Ares is the god of war and bloodshed. So like the bad side of war. That's
He
just
scares
all,
me in Lore Olympus.
all. And then Dionysus,
Wine.
god of wine and partying and freedom.
I talk about him in my alcohol.
Fun.
Oh,
we
that-
talk- I
I
do
can't
talk
wait
about
to hear
him.
this. This is like
Yeah.
preview for the next Kelsey PowerPoint somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
He's also an interesting god that kind of just shows up. Like he's considered like in there's no canon myth, but in canon he's like from the east, sort of. He's interesting.
Yeah, wasn't there something about Dionysus having to like replace somebody on the pantheon to
Yes.
get his seat officially? Like somebody had to step down so they could have their god of wine.
I don't know
who
if
it was.
I don't know if there will. I don't know the one you're thinking of, but he does. He's reborn as a child that's killed by Hera.
Wow.
If you know Zagreus, from
I
the
don't know
Hades
that
game.
name,
Yeah,
I need to play Hades one day.
so good.
That's what our Let's Play should be. We have a
Yeah, we're gonna
Let's Play.
We should play
with
Hades. All right,
yeah.
That'd be fun.
Hades.
I'm in love just with the idea of Hades. So I'm
Yeah,
down to play
Zagreus
Hades.
was a demigod, actually, not a god, born to Zeus and a mortal woman. Hera, the wife of Zeus, gets mad about that, and she sends all the Titans to go and kill the baby Zagreus, and he's torn apart into
Oh, no.
pieces. But Zeus saves his heart, and he goes and rapes Persephone, and she gives birth to this reborn child with Zagreus' heart, and that's Dionysus.
That's an interesting origin
Yeah.
story. I feel like I've heard a different origin story about Zeus having to like incubate Dionysus himself, like a seahorse.
Wait,
where-
you're right.
There's all kinds of conflicting accounts.
There
you
are,
know,
yeah.
but-
There's
but
no canon.
There isn't. Yeah, it's people made up their own stuff. But I swear I've heard that version where you know how like
Yeah.
seahorses have to like the male has to take the babies from the female and incubate them like in its stomach or whatever.
Yeah, there is.
It was like that, wasn't it? Where Zeus
Yeah.
had to like put him in his leg or something.
Yeah,
and
it was in his thigh, and thigh in the ancient world is a euphemism for
Oh man, okay. So
Yeah.
that's what it really means. I'd not heard that
Yes.
detail before.
there's a lot of ancient myths where like the male gods just desperately want to give birth. So there's always at least one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sewn into Zeus's thigh and eventually given birth to.
His thigh.
Viewers draw the conclusion.
So we're a little more familiar with Greek myths now.
Yes.
I only do that because we're going to compare some of these Canaanite gods to Greek gods. All right, so where are we talking about and when are we? So we're talking about the Levant. So the Levant is the eastern Mediterranean coast. It corresponds to modern day, I guess all the countries.
Geography quiz.
Cyprus, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, Palestine. Am I missing any? I said Lebanon, right? I said Jordan. I said Syria.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's like the dark green, right?
I'm proud of you.
And then you got the lighter green sort of around it,
Yeah.
less connected, more tenuous.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, so that, I'm so sorry. That's ASMR.
It is. We do ASMR on the side here.
Yes. So that's the Levant, the area we're going to focus on, and we're going to focus on the Bronze Age. So the Bronze Age happens from 2000 to 1200 BC. I have a timeline later.
Okay.
So you don't have to memorize those dates. So the Bronze Age is characterized, of course, by bronze being found, discovered. Do y'all know the magic spell for bronze? How to make it?
Bronze is like what, tin? It's like tin and copper. It makes bronze. Or
I believe
Is there anything else in there?
No, that's it. Yeah.
That's just it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they've discovered tin, and it's very rare, so suddenly very powerful. And the Bronze Age is characterized by the rise of very powerful city-states and the first empires.
I was thinking about Civ.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Yeah,
thinking
probably
Civ.
if you know
That'll
Civ, you
help
get some
out.
baseline knowledge of this.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to play now.
The bronze is before iron too, right? So they're
Yes.
not really making iron tools. This is all
No,
just
not
bronze.
yet. Well, there are iron tools, but from meteorites. So
They're not like digging it out of the earth.
No.
It's just they get a few from the sky now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, gift from the gods.
is iron like bronze? Do you have to make it, or is it just
I thought it was
Probably
just
not, yeah.
in the ground.
It's just a solid element. Like it's not an alloy.
interesting?
Like it's
But
on the
I'm
periodic
also
table.
thinking of Minecraft, so
That's true.
That's true.
it is. It's just an element.
Yeah, I think
That's
it needs to
fine.
be refined, like into
Oh yeah,
steel.
you do.
like-
You do
Yeah.
have to refine
To
it.
call it
There was
steel,
some new
like-
tech.
Yeah, you do have to do that. Yeah.
So I made another timeline.
We just sound dumb, guys. I'm sorry. no. We're dumb.
we know bits of knowledge and we can combine them together.
So
We're not actually dumb. We're all smart.
I made another timeline. So this black dot here is the beginning of everything. I'll explain.
The Big Bang.
Yes. So coming out of the Ice Age, this is like a history of humans. Yeah. So coming out of the Ice Age, about 42,000 BC, we achieve what's called behavioral modernity. So these are modern day humans now. Neanderthals are extinct, and we have learned language, fire control, cooking. There's some burial of the dead, and we've eliminated the Neanderthals. So we don't really become humans until after the Ice Age. So it's sort of like, what's that phrase? Fire begets gold, or like fire tests gold.
Yeah,
So poetic.
it is.
And after or throughout coming out of the Ice Age, we enter the Old Stone Age or the Paleolithic, which is 13.5, 100 BC. And it's characterized by stone tools, of course, hunter-gathering societies, the earliest figurative art. So the earliest, we're not just drawing buffaloes anymore. We're actually like, oh, this is a man, but he has the head of a lion.
Oh, so they're using their imagination.
Yeah. There's some semi-sedentary sites. So sedentary just means like one place.
Yeah.
More cave paintings, pottery, and Stonehenge is built during this time. And eventually we get to the Neolithic Revolution, the New Stone Age, 10,000 BC. This is where we finally figure out agriculture. First cities are created, writing, government, systematic warfare. We've always been doing war, but now we can do campaigns and like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody was like, let's gang up on those guys.
Yeah, we can do flank now.
Yeah.
And the pyramids were built during this time. So it's much earlier than you think it would be. And we're getting into the Bronze Age. We discover how to make bronze. Cities have walls now. We're, instead of just staying in our little city-states and conquering the people around us, we're going out, we're conquesting, and we're expanding. And the first empires, like the Egyptian Empire, the Hittites, the Assyrians, which are all some of the major first empires. And then the Bronze Age collapses very suddenly over like a couple of decades.
Wow. So this was fast on the time
very
scale,
fast.
like an apocalypse.
Yes. This is my Roman Empire. I love the Bronze Age collapse.
I'm actually so interested now that I know what this is and how fast it happened.
So Bronze Age collapse, the rest up until when the Roman Empire is founded. That's all the Iron Age. And I threw Alexander the Great in there just so a little...
Yeah.
Milestone on the timeline.
Kind of figure out what's happening. Okay. I love making timelines. Who are the Canaanites? Have y'all... Don't read.
No. We have to use our noggins.
Yes.
Okay.
How much do y'all know about the Canaanites?
Man, just like vaguely from biblical, like a connection to Abraham, right? Was he a Canaanite or was he...
That's a good question. That's a complicated question.
So you don't know the answer to that.
No, I know it.
Interesting.
He comes from Mesopotamia.
Uh-huh.
Like he lived in Ur, but he does go to Canaan. I would consider him Canaanite.
Okay, so he was like a Canaanite in the way that like Aeneas is a Roman, you know, goes and like...
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's a good
If we're connecting
parallel.
it to the Aeneid, you know?
I was like, who's Aeneas for a second?
You had to think of that. It was like way out of our...
Take my degree away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I took again art history, so I know the words.
Oh, fun.
But it's been a few years since I've actually, actively taken those classes.
Yeah.
So I do know the word.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we mainly normies, lay people are familiar with the canons from the Bible. So Canaanite is a region, but it's also an ethnicity. So in the Bible, Canaanites are the enemy of the Israelites. When the Israelites they come out of Egypt with the whole Moses exile, and they come into the Promised Land. The Canaanites are the ones who are already there and have to be pushed out.
Oh, classic human story.
Yes.
Promised land, but some people were already there. What
Yeah,
are
we gotta
gonna
kill
do?
'em.
Yeah, blow them up.
So, but it's the region is Canaan. So the early Israelites didn't just show up in Canaan; they were always there. So they are considered Canaanites as well. And in the Bible, the Canaanites are named for Cain of Cain and Abel fame.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So Cain is not a good guy. So Canaanites are not good guys.
So is that like propaganda? We're like,
I
we're going to
think
call
so.
these guys the Canaanites to be like, they're the descendants of the first killer.
I think so, but after the fact, because the word Canaanite is an Akkadian word. So Akkadia is like to the east, where like Assyria is, and it's a word that means purple.
Interesting. That's what Akkadian means?
Oh no, what?
or Canaanite. Okay.
Yeah, Canaan means
right.
purple, which is interesting because Phoenicia, like Phoenician, also means purple,
Wow.
which is like just north of Canaan.
No relation to the newest Wes Anderson movie, The Phoenician
No.
Scheme.
Oh, I haven't heard of this.
This is
Oh,
the
I'm so
latest Wes
excited.
Anderson movie.
Yeah, it just came out.
It has a badass nun, so you'd probably like it, Emily.
It's one of those movies we've been trying to go see because I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan.
Maybe it's a fictional country in this same zone.
Maybe.
We'll report back once we've all seen
yeah.
the movie.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I've seen it, but I don't know. You guys have seen it.
I've not seen it. No. I'm trying to.
And the Phoenicians were, other people were calling them the purple people because they created purple cloth, like which is very rare, very hard to get. That's why all of like emperors in Rome wear purple. That's the king color. So they were semi-sedentary pastoralists, mainly in city-states, and they were doing some agriculture, but it was mostly the climate and geography was most suited to pastoralism. So all of this is Canaan, but the identity of like the Philistines, Israelites, Moabites, Edomites, that all solidified after the Egyptian occupation. So the Egyptian empire occupies all of Canaan for a bit. So this area is very influenced by Egyptian culture and religion, and it's also very influenced by Mesopotamian culture and religion, which is interesting because Egypt and Mesopotamia are both characterized by very strong rivers that are like everything to the way life works and the flooding.
Right, yeah. We're back.
Tell us about rivers.
We had a power outage.
Interesting thing about rivers is that the Egyptian culture and the Mesopotamian culture are all about centered around the river that floods annually and is the reason for life and death and is very influential on their religion. But they're importing our cultures being exchanged into Canaan. And they don't have a river. Well, they do have a river, but it's not a great river. I forgot the Jordan River existed.
Wow, okay, yeah, there's a river.
It's not important, though.
Okay, so not important.
Negligible detail.
Yes. But it's a mountainous region that's coastal, so keep that in mind. So the Canaanite religion is very similar to early Yahwehism. It's not Judaism yet because it relates to the kingdom of Judah. It doesn't exist yet. So we have animal sacrifice. We have dedicated priests who are the only ones who can talk and intermediate with God. We have purification rituals with water. Our open air temples are on high places, so like mountaintops. Very similar. If you read the book of like Samuel and stuff, it's Canaanite religion.
Yeah, lots of prophets and things going up to mountaintops. Seems like a common prophet thing.
Yep. And the whole Mount Sinai. Oh, so Canaanite is also a language family. So it's like a parent language to all of the modern day Semitic languages, like Arabic, Hebrew, Old Akkadian, and Babylonian that are extinct languages now, but also Ethiopian.
Wow. This all came from Canaanite, the language.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was like a parent language at the top of that tree?
Yes.
That like everything came out of that. Wow.
I very artistically cut it. So.
Yeah, but it lines up perfectly with Canaanites in the title of the slide.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's good. You did
I
a
think
good job.
it's irrelevant if you'd left it in there.
Yeah. But the Bronze Age collapses, and this is like all of this religion does happen in the Bronze Age, but we're going to talk about the Bronze Age collapse because that's my thing. If I ever go to grad school, this would be my dissertation.
You want to do it on the Bronze Age collapse?
Like about the religion around it. But
Yeah.
Yes. So complete apocalyptic societal collapse. The government changes. The economy changes. The population is dispersed and wealth disparities are changed. So everything, like over 2 decades, just changes. So in a single person's lifetime, the world just collapses. It's characterized by a bunch of either destruction or abandonment of cities. So this map, each little X, this is not even all of them. It's a city that was destroyed.
Wow, all in these like 2 decades or however long this was? So this was an apocalypse. This was.
Yes. So some interesting ones we have. I'm trying to think of what it would be familiar to people who don't know about the Bronze Age. Mycenae is where like Agamemnon from the Iliad is from. So like the big major city in Greece. Troy is on here also from the Iliad.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think y'all care about the other cities. I don't think y'all recognize them.
I mean, again, I took
That's true.
Some of
ancient
those are-
Greek and Roman art history. So I do
Kadesh.
know some of these.
Kadesh, Megiddo,
Uh-huh.
Ashkelon, Ashdod, Ugarit, Knossos from Crete. Very suspicious. The Babylonians are fine. I'm just kidding. They're not on the coast.
Okay.
That's why they're probably fine. And of course, this absolutely breaks down the trade network. They were all trading with each other. So no one was like isolated, like you kind of think. People were world travelers.
There were sort of Silk Road type things happening.
Yeah, there is an Egyptian, what's it called? The King's Highway, which like went all the way through Canaan and I think into Libya. And of course, there's all these sea routes. We have, we know Egypt had trade with Afghanistan because
Wow.
that's where you get lapis lazuli. How do y'all pronounce that word?
For Minecraft, it's always been lazuli to me.
Okay.
But I've heard lazuli.
I say
Yeah.
fake diamonds.
Fake diamonds.
That's what they say is a Minecraft people. It's fake diamonds.
It is.
Aw.
It's
Because you see it and you're like, oh, it's a diamond. Oh, no, it's not a diamond.
Yeah.
So during this period, it's kind of like a dark age. There's just like a gap. Like there's no art being made. There's no works of literature being made. So, and in Greece, I think people like actually lose literacy.
Really? So it's like a small dark age? Kind
Yes.
of? It's this short little...
But a lot of works of art, like the Iliad, are set during the Bronze Age collapse. So it's like this golden age that never really was. Like it's this time where like nothing's happening in our mind, so we can put anything we want in that time period.
Interesting. So this is kind of like an age of heroes almost in this
Exactly.
weird way where it's like, oh, we didn't really know what happened then, so let's put some dragons in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this thing with the Iliad where like Paris taking Helen is like the act that ended the age of heroes. So supposedly that's like its own little collapse. And so there's this thing called Cyclopean architecture, just giant architecture. You can see in this very first picture, normal masonry. Next to it is Cyclopean masonry.
So everything was just bigger.
Yeah. And it's called Cyclopean, like Cyclops. So the theory is like you look at this and think, oh, a giant must have built this.
Interesting.
Okay.
But it's just grand architecture. There's this huge obelisk. That's not a fake
Yeah.
picture. You think it is. That's an obelisk still in the quarry. Quarry?
Yeah. So they're finding this stuff still.
Yes. So during the Bronze Age collapse, that's done. Like this obelisk was not finished for as an example.
Yeah. And it was just kind of left abandoned for
So
all that time.
You can imagine like the palace center who like is patron to all of these huge monuments. They're can't get the workforce or they're not powerful enough to actually make this happen.
So it all kind of stopped.
Yes. And there were no more pyramids after this. So sad. There's lots of reasons why the pyramid or the graves of the royal pharaohs were put underground, like grave robbers, but you don't really have the resources to create huge pyramids. So the Valley of the Dead is now the place where pharaohs go.
So no more periods from then until they built the one that's a Bass Pro Shops.
What?
You don't know that? You've never seen that
No.
one? The Bass Pro Shops pyramid? I think it's in like Memphis or Nashville or it's somewhere in Tennessee.
I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah, it looks
That's a
very...
best version.
It is. It used to be something else. I can't remember what it was for, whether it was connected to like World's Fair or something, but it's very Illuminati looking, very
Yeah.
like eye in the pyramid with the Bass Pro Shops like logo being the eye.
I thought it was a museum.
Maybe
probably-
it was at one point. I think it's a Bass Pro Shops now.
Because the
That's very funny.
Yeah.
The Brass Bros shop there.
They have a pyramid.
because the University of Memphis is the only place in America, the university, that will teach you Middle Egyptian, like hieroglyphs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, it probably is Memphis then that
Yeah.
this is where this is because there's obviously the Egypt connection in the name. So they're like, let's build a pyramid. And eventually it's a Bass Pro Shop. So best laid plans.
That makes me so mad.
That's wild.
And we have the loss of great wealth. So this is a bunch of gold that was found in a Mycenaean tomb, so like Greek Agamemnon. So anytime you think of like fantasy and like kings that are like endlessly rich, they could have a throne made out of solid gold. This is actually the time period where that was actually true.
Yeah.
So there's like half of the Earth's gold in these tombs, and we don't like after the Bronze Age collapse. It's just like you get a sword, even for like kings.
Yeah. They're not decked out in gold anymore. They just have to like really make the power work, you know?
Yeah. And there's the breakdown of palace economy. So palace economy, it's kind of like communism, authoritarian communism. So the palace has all the wealth, all the resources, and it will dispense food out to all the people. People work the farms and the pastures, and they give all of their profit to, well, here in this little diagram, it's like textile workshops, or if it's like grain, straight to the palace. And then the palace brings it back out to all the people. So this whole structure breaks down. Also, no more palaces. This is on Crete, at Knossos.
So that tracks. No more palace economy. They're not really going to have palaces anymore.
It's true.
Yeah.
No need for them.
No.
And the gold's gone anyway. So
Yeah.
what are you going to deck it out with? Fancy rocks?
So what do you think happens after this to fill its place? This sort of economy.
Warlords?
Yeah.
Looting? Seems like
that's
that's
a
your
very good
typical
guess.
post-apocalyptic thing.
Mm-hmm.
System breaks down and warlords.
Definitely. A lot of people disperse into smaller groups. So there are like chiefs instead of kings who, there's lots of raiding. Raiding was very normal. That's just what you did over the summer.
What are you raiding this summer? Oh,
Exactly,
think of that.
Oh, they captured our idol. We have to go get it back. Kind of like
girly
capture the
things.
flag.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Very good guess. That is correct. Also, there was a rise in like the high priests. So a lot of the resources were going to the priests now. So the priests were becoming more powerful than the king.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who's to blame for the Bronze Age collapse? So there could have been climate change, a very arid time period. There could have been a volcano and tsunami that wiped half the Eastern Mediterranean.
Tsunami would make sense if it was mostly stuff on the coast. Because you did mention that. That would
Yes.
add up.
That makes sense, yeah.
Drought and famine, war between those great empires. They were finally these great big empires with all the chariots are invented for the first time.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so warfare was suddenly much more deadly.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying if you'd
Yeah.
never seen one of those before and suddenly one's charging at you. So.
Exactly. And maybe plague, our buddy Y. pestis, the plague, the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
Might have had a tour.
I say it's all of those. Everything.
Yeah, it is. I was going to ask.
And that's the answer.
I feel like everything had to.
Yes, 'cause
it was
all
a
of
perfect
this-
storm.
Huh?
Perfect storm is the perfect phrase for it. But there was a volcano. This is the island of Thera in Santorini, which is like the middle of the Greek islands. And you can see where the volcano was.
Wow.
And it did create a tsunami. I think it's New Kingdom, Egypt, records the tsunami. It's crazy.
So that was what kicked it off, you think? That was like the...
Um,
Or maybe it just made a bad
It's
situation
just part
worse.
of it. Yeah, it's just I think
yeah,
it was part of
I
it.
don't know exactly which thing started it or if there was a single start, but it definitely didn't help because a volcano also obscures the sky.
Yeah, it's nuclear winter, basically.
Exactly.
So.
Your crops don't grow. Like you miss one harvest, like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
people are going to be
You're
pretty
dead.
peckish.
Yeah.
So that picture of the island, like the ring-shaped,
Yes.
that's where the volcano was, and it just nuked the like crater out of the middle of that.
Yes.
So that was a big eruption.
Yes, you can imagine like the side of the volcano just slides into the sea.
Yeah.
I should put a video of volcano exploding.
Yeah,
That'd
I
Of
be fun,
volcanoes.
it's crazy.
And invaders may have come in
yeah.
from other places to destroy these cities. Or their crops back home are not doing great, so they're moving to places they think do have food. And they just happen to have swords too, and chariots.
Let's go get them.
So maybe less invader, more migrants
Okay.
coming into the area. We got to talk about the sea peoples.
Oh.
Have y'all heard about the sea peoples?
That's very familiar to me, but I don't know specifics about them.
Kelsey, do you know about the sea peoples? Don't read it. Stop
I'm
cheating.
just like trying to figure out like I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. This is like the main characters of the Bronze Age collapse.
Okay.
The term comes from the mortuary temple of Ramses III, which is like down in Luxor, Thebes, which is like far down the Nile, not too close to the coast. But it tells the story of a group of people. They're considered of the islands of the sea, and they are just a coalition of different ethnic groups that come together and attack Egypt.
Wow.
And of course, the pharaoh's like, I destroyed them all. They're no more. And there's like a list of like 9 of them. So we have like the names of the groups. We don't know quite who is who, but we can guess with quite some certainty some of them. Like Lucca, the people of Lucca is very similar to the region of Lycia, which is like southern Turkey.
Okay.
The Peliset, very similar to the Philistines, so on the coast of the Levant. The Danyan sounds like the Danans, which is one of the names for the Greeks in the Iliad. So they could have been the Greeks. Shekelesh, we don't know. Maybe Sicily. I think it could be Shechem, which is the capital of Israel at one point.
Okay.
I don't think that anymore. Like, I changed my mind this morning. I'm like, but that was destroyed too, wasn't it? So I don't know.
So who knows?
Who's to say? So, but not all of them are given the descriptive of the sea. So they're not all sea people. But there is evidence of people coming from elsewhere coming in and messing some shit up. And the battle was characterized by, like, it was with pirates. So we got an image here of a bunch of boats.
Wow. So just massive, like, sea battles happening during this time, skirmishes out of these boats. This is very, like, Viking-esque in my mind. It reminds me a lot of, like, the Viking raiders coming down from the north.
Yeah. And the Vikings also went to, like, England in search of better farmland. So it is very similar.
It is.
And they also have horned helmets.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some serious parallelism. History repeats itself.
Yes. Vikings never had horned helmets, but I wonder if it was inspired by.
Yeah, maybe that was like some...
you can see the guy here.
Yeah, he had a horned helmet. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that kind of like crossed over in people's minds, where people
Possibly.
compared the two to some degree, and that just kind of got mixed in with
They
Vikings.
said, that looks cool.
Yeah, they're like, a raider from the sea just has to have a helmet like that, maybe.
So this is a map of where the sea peoples may have originated and sailed to the cities they destroyed. That's a good map. That's a map from the same site as my Bronze Age map.
Oh, yeah.
That
We got to show off
viewers
this
don't
map.
see.
We're
Oh,
going to
do
get
we
some
have-
BTS of it.
Okay, we'll do that.
We don't have to interrupt this for it. We got a great map right here.
Yes. No, go back. Wait, don't look.
Close our eyes.
Oh, my
Really
God.
important slide too.
Yeah. That's an
Not
Ulver album cover. Seen
All right.
that before.
We're getting to the gods. So in the ancient Near East, the gods are based off of the sky. So the sun, moon, and the star Venus, all very, very important. And usually these celestial bodies are a family. So the sun, it's usually male, moon's usually female. They're married. They have a star child, which could be male or female, depending on where you are in the ancient Near East. The Canaanites are a little different, but there's obviously influence of the solar family. So we have Shemesh is the sun god. There's a bunch of cities named after Shemesh. So Beth Shemesh. Beth means house. So the house of Shemesh is a city. There's a couple in Canaan. The moon god is either Sin or Yarek, which is interesting because Sin is, so, Mount Sinai, Yahweh's mountain,
It was actually
named after the moon god.
interesting.
Yes, and Jericho, the city that fell, also named after the moon god.
Wow.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of theories that Yahweh was a moon god. But these are actually kind of not very major gods in the Canaanite pantheon. The sort of solar connotation is for... it kind of gets transferred to like El, which is the main king god. And there's, just an interesting little fact. There's a god of the dawn and a god of the dusk. There's Shahara and Shamlin, which kind of sounds like Shar, and Saloon of Baldur's Gate.
Yes, that's immediately what I thought when I heard it.
I'm so excited. Because Saloon is the moon and Shar is like the dusk or the darkness, right? Yeah. I've played the game, I swear. And Shalom comes from the same word as shalom, which means peace. And it's also the root of Jerusalem. So
Wow. Okay, that is like everywhere then.
Yes.
That made its way places.
So Jerusalem was probably a city, the god of that city was probably Shalom. And the connection between peace and dusk, peace is like completion. The dusk is the completion of the day.
Wow.
I know, so poetic. And Yahweh in the book of Judges is called Yahweh Shalom. So it's connecting.
It is.
But the gods that we need to care about are, I made a little family tree of cows. There's El, the king god, married to Asherah. They have a son, Baal, and Anat, which is a daughter. And Baal is married to Astarte. And I'll tell you why I made little cows. Anat is also a bow and arrow because she's a goddess of the hunt. And there's this bow that she really wants, and she kills the guy for it.
Wow.
And Astarte is related to wild animals like... We talked about lions and tigers in my last one. Whatever's native to the land.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Yes. So why bulls? Why cows? Because they're sacred. So they're the coolest animal. They're the most powerful animal. Y'all remember oryx or oryx, the very giant bulls of, they're extinct now, but they're like the super tall bulls.
Wow, I'm not sure I know about those.
Yeah, I was in one of my PowerPoints. How dare you?
Oh, no.
But they were the most powerful animal at the time. There's the huge thing with horns, bigger than a lion. And they're the most useful animal. So what's all the stuff you could do with a cow?
Milk it, get the meat, make
Leather.
cheese.
Yeah, leather, good. Yeah, so every single part of the cow you can use. So it's the most useful animal, most powerful animal. Also, we have a cow with a sun disk on its head. And what does that kind of look like to you? The cow picture. They're all cows.
This one, the cow with the sun disk on its head.
Yes. What else does that kind of look like?
Oh, it's like the sun and the moon when they're combined like that.
It's
It's like the horns of the moon. It reminds me of that picture of the eclipse that somebody took with like the horns coming out of the ocean with the sun. Have you ever seen that picture?
I have not.
No.
It's like the devil horn eclipse. I swear people use that name for it, but it's some like award-winning picture where somebody got a 1 in a million shot of like
Wow.
as an eclipse was happening. You just have these devil horns over the ocean.
I have to see that. That's amazing.
We're
That'd
adding
be
that
great.
picture into this PowerPoint.
Yeah. So, yeah, bull horns looks like the moon.
Yeah.
So we got the solar and lunar motifs. This is the hieroglyph for the horizon. So same sort of
Wow. Yeah.
horns or mountains, and the sun rising above it.
Well, and what I was going to say earlier was that picture on the left there with like the sun and the bull horns.
Yes.
There was a band called Ulver that literally used that exact image as an album cover. So I've seen that before.
I've stolen it. And bulls are associated with a sexual potency.
That's true because it's like 1 bull to 100 cows or something when you're herding cattle.
I
think.
guess.
So
There's this iconic statue of Artemis of Ephesus. So what's going on with her? If you had to make a description.
wow, I got to take a closer look at that.
Yes.
So
It looks like just lots of boobs, milking of
Yeah.
boobs.
Yep, so many boobs. So
it's insane.
they could be interpreted that way. They could also be bull ball sacks.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yes, because this does not only appear on statues of women, but also Zeus. So he's got a few on his chest.
Yeah.
So this is a sign of fertility, we think.
Fertility is bulbous, whichever
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, I think the connotation of it does look like breasts goes hand in hand. They're both
Yeah.
fertility.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's why bulls are associated with fertility. And
Wow.
also fertility in an agricultural society. Very important. Your crops have to be fertile. The rain has to come. So sexual fertility and agricultural fertilities.
Okay.
That's true.
That makes
Usually the
sense, yeah.
same.
Everything must reproduce.
Exactly. Some other gods. There's Kothar, who's the divine craftsman, so like the Hephaestus. He's also a magician, so he creates the divine weapons of Baal. So I think his weapons are like something in chaser, and it's like 2 clubs. They've also been like 2 lightning bolts. So he creates those. Gad is the god of fortune, or like luck. And that is a tribe of Israel.
I was going to say, like, I've heard that name before,
Yes.
and that's where I've heard it from.
So I got this map up. And also, so is Asherah. There's the tribe of Asher.
Huh?
So there's some Canaanite gods in there.
The names are carrying over.
What about I see Benjamin.
Benjamin is on there.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That's where Jerusalem is. Oh, I used to know all of the meanings of the names. But Dan
Dan.
could be the Danans, the Greeks. Issachar or Zebulon means like men for hire or something like that. Don't quote me on that. And some enemies of God. We have Tiamat. Have y'all heard of Tiamat?
I've heard the name.
The
yeah.
name Tiamat has come up in Marvel, I think. I think there's a
Oh, that
god
might be
called
why.
Tiamat in
But
the
it was
Marvel
somewhere I
movie
heard
somewhere.
it. That name's familiar.
She's also in D&D. She's chaotic evil goddess,
Wow.
which I think is rude. But she is a chaos goddess. She's associated with the ocean and water, and she's a serpent or a dragon.
Yeah, I think I just realized Tiamat in Marvel was the celestial that lived inside the earth that was going to break out and destroy the planet unless the Eternals stopped it. So that was in that movie.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Fits in with the
Yes.
chaos motif.
Yes. Yeah, modern day narratives are like very good versus evil. In the ancient world, it's order versus chaos.
That's true.
Okay,
That's like the
okay.
original good versus evil, when everybody was kind of chaotic to start with. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. But it's not necessarily chaotic bad,
No.
order good, because order can be really bad too. And chaos is just necessary for... You need the balance of order and chaos is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Chaos can set you free. We'll talk about Discordianism one day. I swear.
I'm trying not to look it up.
No, I'll have a PowerPoint about
Yes.
that soon, I swear.
And Tiamat is actually in the Bible. So in Genesis, God creates the heavens and the earth. He separates the heavens from the waters. The word for waters in that sentence is actually Tiamat.
Oh.
So do they mean the goddess? I don't
Maybe.
know. There is Mot, the god of death. He's like your Hades figure. Like he's not a bad guy. He's just doing his job.
Is he hot? Is he hot like Hades?
I haven't seen any pictures of him.
Do you know if he was more of like a Reaper type thing or just like ruled the dead?
That's
like
still hot,
Hades?
though. That's a reaper.
He tells Baal, like, you're in trouble, come down to the underworld, you're dead, sort of thing. So it's more of like authoritarianism.
Yeah, rather than him being the one that was actually like guiding people to the
It's
dead.
more like a king of the dead, like Hades.
So very Hades.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's Yam, the god of the sea. So he's very similar to the Tiamat figure, but he's male, which is kind of unusual for the ancient Near East for the water god, serpent water god, to be male.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like serpents were usually a very feminine thing in those times.
It's very, that's a whole other PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And Yam is the mortal enemy of Baal, which we'll find out later. There's also Dagon. He is said to be the god of the Philistines in the Bible. There's no archaeological evidence for that. There are some temples much further north in like Ugarit. I didn't put a map up. That would have been helpful. But yes, we don't know quite if he was a god of the Philistines, but he's a Mesopotamian river god.
Okay.
And he's kind of associated with El, so like a king god. So we don't know if he was like an imported god, we just don't have evidence for yet, or if there's like memory of when the Hebrews were exiled to Babylon, if they like picked up the idea of Dagon there. And the Babylonians are our enemies, so Dagon is also our enemy. So we're going to go back and put Dagon in our text as our enemy.
Gotta kill the
Okay.
enemy.
We don't know.
And that's a picture of him there. He's a merman.
He's a fish god.
I love that.
I like how he has like the rainbow fish
I know.
kind of tail.
Yeah, he's got pretty scales.
Yeah, he's really cool looking.
He's very fabulous.